Hello and welcome to the Gunnar Vibe with me again, Varun. Thank you for your time. Amazing victory. It was more of a relief than great talking about great performance and all, just like we had in the past 7 games this year. Um, Tough game with a really dogged defending by Brentford side. What is your first reaction?
I think my first reaction is much needed 3 points, regardless of the style in how we got it.
Hmm.
These are the signs of champions, in my opinion. Like, you don't need to play the best football to get the win. As long as you can score more goals than your opponent and get the 3 points, I think that's what matters. And I think we did that today. And that's my summary. Vital 3 points, right?
Hmm.
Because this puts pressure on City and Liverpool tomorrow, who kind of play each other. And then it goes into that 6 point tilt that we talked, which is 31st of March, us and City. So I think we've done our part. And then we can sit back and relax now, conserve our energy, and focus on the Porto game, and then just focus on the City game. So I think great result for us, barring the circumstances. Um, Man City didn't find it easy as well to win against Brentford. They barely scraped through a 2-1 and a 1-0 this time.
Hmm.
So appreciate the 3 points was absolutely important to get. If we didn't get anything, then that it was basically just handing it over back to Liverpool and City. So I think we kept our nerves and we are right back in it. Although we are like top by a point, let's see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, important game tomorrow. We'll discuss about that a little bit. Maybe talk about who we prefer to win and draw,
Yes,
whatever the
yes, yeah.
scoreline we would want. But uh, we started off well before the game started. We knew that Ramsdale is going to start as ineligible to play against his home side or Brentford in this case. And we had a forced substitution with Martinelli not available, Trossard playing, but pretty much the same team. Any surprises that you had looking at the lineup? Did you expect any changes considering we had this Tuesday game against Porto as well?
Yeah, I think as you exactly said, apart from those two changes, it was unforced changes. Everything else was the same. So we didn't want to risk Martinelli. So we do have a 20, like a 12 to 18-day break. So I think they didn't want to risk Martinelli for the run in. I think that's a good decision. And as you said, Raya couldn't play anyways, so we didn't have a choice in that keeper selection. But apart from that, I think very predictable lineup, and again giving Rice that like license to go up, in the advanced position. So no change, like no shocking, lineup changes that I expected, and I think Arteta stuck to the uh, main core of his team and just play around with unforced changes that he had to do. So
Hmm. What did you think about the first half? I know with even with the small change like Trossard coming in, although we dominated the position, it did feel like it was a struggle to create things. I mean, obviously,
yes,
Brentford didn't make that mistake that Sheffield did to change their back line to a back four instead of a back five. They stuck
yeah.
with it. They are a good defensive side, anyways. But your thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, I think the first signs of the first half was it looked like we missed Martinelli's space for sure. Like, I mean, we had Saka going in and out, but them interchanging play, does make a difference. We've seen it in the last 6 7 games where we've been in our best form of the season. So we did notice that. Of course, Trossard is not as pacey as Saka. I mean, Martinelli, but he was doing as doing as the best as he could for his ability. But yes, we did miss the pace. But to your point as well, Brentford were playing more defensively. They came with a plan that they're gonna suffocate us as much as possible, not let us have we had possession. I mean, like we had almost 70+% of possession, but we didn't have as many clear cut chances as we saw, in the last 6 7
Mhm.
games, right? So I think they came with a plan. They executed it with the changes that we had. So it kind of played into their hands in the first half. Um, we still did get very tight chances. We had a few opportunities to go up front. Rice took it, and like a few other chances that Havertz had, he didn't convert,
Mhm.
although it was flagged offside marginally. And unfortunately, we considered that unforced error from Ramsdale. But beyond that, I think first half looked cagey with the way Brentford was set up. Like we did what we could best, but I think Brentford were equipped to suffocate us as well. Coming down to Emirates, they had nothing to lose today, so
Mhm.
they were trying to at least stop us from winning the game. I think that's what the plan was. They were very almost successful, but we came back. So first half was
Mhm.
basically, it was not end to end like as we saw like in the last game.
Mhm.
Even though Brentford are down in the table, but they're not going to lie flat on their back like how Sheffield or like any other teams are going to be. They did give City a run for their form as well, like last couple of weeks ago. So we expected a tough game, but I'm so glad that we could stick it out and get the
Mhm.
3 points. So credit to Brentford as well. Like they gave us a hard game today, to be very honest.
Mhm.
So credit to their
Yeah.
manager,
Yeah.
players, and they were wasting time. I mean, they have the dark arts going well
Mhm.
for them. They wasted time, but fortunately, it worked in our favor in the end as well.
Yeah. I think Brentford was missing pretty much the entire back line that they usually start with. They have
Yeah.
been definitely their place in the table doesn't reflect how good they are despite all their injuries. But
Yeah.
we went ahead. It was interesting, uh, regardless of how tight we managed the spaces on the right with Saka and Odegaard. We don't generally cross as often as we
Yes.
can. We have a lot of space, even on the left hand side. Kivio tends to have a lot of space, um, but he never usually never crosses. We saw some crosses coming in from wide this time, and one of those crosses met Rice's head, really
Yes.
thumping header from him. Um, what was different from previous games that you thought Arsenal did, which created these chances?
Yeah, I think Arsenal immediately, I mean, our players immediately figured out that this is not going to be the straightforward, free flowing game that we saw in the last couple of months. We knew that we had to get it done ugly, and I think we did the same thing against Luton, if you remember. And Rice was actually very pivotal. So I think when Rice scores, like I have noticed, at least apart from the West Ham, the final goal that he scored, when you have a player like Rice score for us, you know that it's a defensive fight in the midfield, and
Mm,
it was a result of that. And Rice was at the right place at the right time. I think Ben White has been exceptional last few games, scoring as well last game. But I think today 2 goals from his 2 assists. So I think he provided the right crosses, knowing that there would be an Arsenal player at the receiving end in between two Brentford players. So
mhm,
credit to Ben White. I mean, to see the vision of those passes in both occasions, and like especially in the first half for Rice, because we didn't see. I mean, Saka was heavily marked. Martinelli was obviously not there, so but we didn't see that. I think Odegaard and Saka was marked heavily, so we didn't get that crisp passing from them as much because they couldn't move across 3 players at once. So,
mhm,
but barring that, I think still they managed to create those spaces for players like Ben White, who could provide that cross, and I think amazing header from Rice. He shows up. He has that pedigree. I mean, he's done this not in a title race, but he did it for West Ham last season in the Conference League. He knows what it means to go all the way in a different setting. And I think Rice's experience is helping us this season, like more than anything. Like if you know Rice and I think Kai Havertz have been there, done that in different competitions. I think that's helping us with
Mm.
our collective experience from last season.
Yeah. Well, we went up 1-0 at that point, and then uh, we have to talk about the Ramsdale problem, or at least what actually happened at the end of the first half. We were comfortable until then. Basically, was predictable what Tony and Visa was doing, just pretty much hounding and harrying Ramsdale at that point. Uh, Pretty much at the death of that first half, we
Yeah.
gave away a goal. We were texting on the side, and obviously, like every other Arsenal players, fans, we were
Yeah.
disappointed with that concession. It felt like what happened last season, where we gave away cheap goals. Um,
Yes.
what are your thoughts about that goal? Because obviously,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the Raya versus Ramsdale um, talk, pretty much the entire season, this came to a conclusion where we see why Arteta has
Yes.
lent on Raya a lot more than Ramsdale. But
Yeah, I think you touched upon it in those 2 points. Number one was when we conceded that goal in the run-in last season, the last 10, 11 games, we saw a similar Arsenal, right? We were crumbling upon under the pressure. Um, Same thing happened. I think there were two things in that, right? One is Raya, as I think when we texted, we were saying one is the pressure for Ramsdale to come back potentially only in one game, which is today's game, due to Raya's ineligibility. And also, I felt like the pressure of the title run, right? And if you noticed, Ramsdale makes amazing saves. Like you saw, like the Tony save from long distance. He has that ability to make those saves. Absolutely agree with all the people who support Ramsdale, but I think to Arteta's style of play, Raya is more suitable. But the mistake that he made were slightly similar to the issues that we saw last season, where we kind of we threw the title away to City, right? Southampton game is what I got reminded of, where he directly
mm,
passed to a couple of players, and I think I don't know who finished, but we were like suddenly like 3-0 down for 20 minutes, 2-0 down at 20 minutes and then 3-1 down pretty soon. So I think that's when we threw the title away. The three games, right? West Ham away, Liverpool away, and Southampton home. That's where we lost the league last season. But this season, if you compare, although the title fixtures was changed a little bit, Liverpool home, West Ham away, and this game home, Brentford home. Apart from all the other wins, we have showed that we've matured from that. So we came back,
mm,
we conceded that goal that we did, but we made sure we didn't concede more, right? Thanks to Ramsdale for those saves in the second half. But we also showed more guts to go and like win it. I think that's the few things working in favor for us. Whereas last season we just didn't have that in our tank to take it to the next level. But I think players
mm,
like Havertz, Rice, and all the other experienced players from City, like Jorginho, as well as like the two City guys like Jesus and Zinchenko, they have seen victory. They have tasted victory in the past. I think that is
mm,
important. I mean, even like Thomas Partey has seen tasted victory with Atletico Madrid. So I think these are the core players who are actually experienced to go all the way. And in addition to the experience of our pain last season, our players know that yes, last 7 games were like cakewalk. At least we made it look like cakewalk. But certain games we need to win it like how we did today, down and dirty,
mm.
and I think we were magnificent in that. So um,
Yeah.
I think the maturity. I think we discussed this. I think today we saw a mature performance. Didn't need to be like a 5 goal victory. It was 2-1, but
Mm.
it did the job for us, and I think that's what
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah. Yeah, despite the goal that we conceded, Ramsdale did make those saves that we talked about. That was
Yeah.
really crucial because although Arsenal were dominating position, dominating even chances, we saw Saka moving a lot more in the central areas
Yes.
in the start of the second half, getting into the ball. We still had to thank Ramsdale for those
Those
saves that
two.
he made. Big,
Yes.
big saves. And I also think that his distribution was decent, especially with his throws. We had a
Yes.
couple of chances where I think he threw uh, for Trossard to get through on goal, which they defended. And there was another chance where he threw and we just missed, and the defenders covered that ball through. His passing was a little iffy. I thought his long balls was kind of unnecessary in the same circumstances. You could think that Raya might would have just passed to a Gabriel or a Ben White on the flanks to get the ball still with our position. We came back, obviously a beautiful move, I think, with Trossard, Odegaard and White, White
Odegaard to White.
passing
Yeah.
and brilliant header from Havertz. We always say that we need a new striker. We talk about it pretty much every other week when we text, and I'm pretty sure that that's going to be a talk uh,
For the
when it
summer.
comes to the summer. But
Yeah.
when we have a tall striker like Havertz there, who we can actually cross, who can actually win headers, this becomes a good alternative for us when we have teams like Brentford who sit back, and we have a guy like Havertz who we can cross and he can head. So I feel like that was a relief for us, but at the same time, it also showed how important Havertz is to our overall game. Like it makes our game not just one dimensional. Um,
Yes.
what are your thoughts on in that time and how you felt about the goal when it went in?
Yeah, I think you touched upon it, but Havertz for me, I mean, I was critical of Havertz, but boy, he has proved himself and he's come off, like he's shown what he's made of. He's come up at the big moments. Both the Brentford games, actually, like the 6 points we have got from Brentford, thanks to Kai Havertz.
Mm,
89th minute winner at the Brentford stadium and here as well. So he yeah, we always discuss about the striker that we need, but Havertz has been proving us incorrect, and he's validated himself multiple times. And I'm so proud that he was signed. It proves Arteta's vision, right? Like we probably as fans see only like a few dimensions of every player,
mm,
but I think Arteta, as he's the right man for the job, and he knows why he signed Havertz. And I think Havertz is just proving him right, and super proud of him. And like I'm super glad that he could get another goal to his name, and not just the goal. He was working his socks off, even in and around the goal in other occasions. There was a potential penalty. I know that he stumbled upon him, looked like a dive, but
mm,
he is providing us that extra you know dimension, as you said, in terms of stature, as well as even his passing ability. Like he sometimes finds those through balls, so he kind of like duels up as a number 9 as well as a number 8. Like he does provide those beautiful passes. um, all we could say is thank you, Arteta, for bringing in Kai Havertz from Chelsea. And
mm,
Havertz is just proving himself here. The freedom that he didn't get at Chelsea is what he's getting here. And I think there he was played as an out and out number 9 every single time. But I think his original position is where, Arteta is kind of moving him around like a false 9. When Jesus came around, he was kind of like dropped back a little. Because when Jorginho was out, Rice came back, and then Havertz and Odegaard came down. So I think he knows his space around the box, and I think he's the right guy at this moment. Arsenal have 70 goals. I mean, like it's insane that we as fans
mm,
discuss as like we don't have a number 9, Jesus looked rusty again. He barely got a few touches today, but still we have 70 goals and we are plus 46. Um, and it's
It's
insane to
18
think that.
goals. Uh, the highest we had last season was 88. So we have
Yeah,
18 goals left to get there. We have 10
in
games to
10
go there.
games.
11,
Yeah,
11 games, 10 games, I think.
yeah,
But
10 games. And it's insane that, uh, we have so many goals in the tank. And at January,
mm,
when, of course, when things were bad, we felt like we needed a striker. It was just that we weren't converting, right? We do have quality
mm,
players. So I think we need to trust the process, trust Arteta, and just back the team. And I think the wins will come. And I think if we win this season, of course, it's positive. But even if we don't, and if we come really close, I'm still positive about it because I'm looking forward to the next few seasons where Klopp will be gone, Liverpool will taper off a little bit. Potentially, a season will come where Pep will be gone, and we will be the dominant force for the next few years. And I think I'm excited for that in rather than
mm.
just the short term, 10 games that we have.
Yeah, I think Pep's contract expires 2025. Well, Arteta's contract expires around that time as well. So we'll see how that pans out. We saw Jesus come back. We saw Zinchenko get some minutes, which is crucial for the run in
And Partey.
as and Partey. And
Yeah.
I think especially for the Porto game, having these players around available would be important. I feel it would be a good game for Jorginho to still be there in the midfield, control the midfield, and maybe have the same group uh, play Porto. Let's maybe talk about tomorrow's game. I know that is the
Yes.
next important game that comes in. What are your feelings? Who do you think? On let's say, who do you want to win? What is your
Yeah.
preferred score line?
Yeah, I actually, before I answer mine, I'm super interested to know your thoughts. So there are three permutations, right? Of course, a City win, a Liverpool win, and a draw. So I want to throw it to you before I give my. I do have some calculations in mind, but I want to hear you out first. What
Mm.
A, B, and C, a City win being A, Liverpool win being B, and like a draw, A, B, and C. What is your short term and long term result? What do you think is the best result for us tomorrow with the win that we have today?
Yeah, I think honestly we talked about this a little bit. I prefer C, which is a draw.
Okay.
This is because Arteta would want us to still be top of the league, regardless of how what are the remaining games. I know City and Liverpool might have easier run-ins as compared to Arsenal, but if Arsenal has that control, maybe then it's in their hands. Then
Hmm.
go to City, maybe get that result. Even if Arsenal get a draw at Etihad Stadium, it may still be okay. But if Liverpool wins, we are hoping that Liverpool loses games. And I think if Liverpool wins, they probably will be using that as a catalyst to go up through the next games because they are, like we talked about, not having a lot of players back. They are pretty injury ravaged
Hmm.
as well. Um, if City wins, then our game against City becomes very, very important. It is a must win for us. But and as you know, if City wins, they will never relent. They will just have all the games gobbled up and get through, and it makes it even more important for them to get that what is that called, win four times in a row, the
Yeah.
Premier League that no one has managed.
Four peat.
So
Three
yeah,
peat and
four
four
P.
peat. Yeah.
So yeah, my
Yeah.
preference is still going to be a draw, maybe 5-5 draw with 10 red cards each. That would be ideal. And maybe a few injuries to the City players also, long-term injuries.
Yeah, I no, I appreciate your insight. My At least my thoughts around this is I want actually Liverpool to win, right? I'll explain my stance on why. Um, we, now we are a point ahead of Liverpool, right? Liverpool 63, we are 64. Liverpool win tomorrow off of City. I think that's why it's important, right? I wouldn't never have said that I want City or Liverpool to win outside of us, but if Liverpool win tomorrow, they go 66, and will be at 64, and City are still at 62, right? So in the remaining fixtures that we have, the only two fixtures that where the title can swing is this week and March 31st, right? Majority wise, like unless we throw away our league by ourselves. Imagine that we win every game. The only point swings that could happen is this weekend, with tomorrow the game and the game against City for us. So mathematically, tomorrow if Liverpool win, they'll be 66. Temporarily, they will be 2 points ahead of us. They still have to face Man United, which is, I think, Man United, I feel like they're not in the form that they were, but they have a say in the title race. Unfortunately, they gave away against City, but they still have to play Liverpool. So that I'm hoping that there's something going on there. And if we go to Etihad, right, if it sets up as a Liverpool win, City have a loss, that's -3 for City. And if we go to Etihad, at least come back with a draw. I'm not expecting us to win. A win would be a bonus. If we win, we would potentially be knocking City off the title race, right? That'll be a -6
Mm,
for uh, City. And I think I'm comfortable more to go head to head with City for the rest of the 9 game. Sorry, Liverpool compared to City. Because we know City will not lose a single point, assuming they win every single game from the two losses that they had between Liverpool and Arsenal. But we'll have that breathing room. So imagine we City Liverpool 66 as of tomorrow, 64 and 62. We go to the Etihad and imagine we get a draw, right? So Liverpool potentially will win their game against, I don't know who they are against, 69. And if City and Liverpool us draw, we'll be at 65, and Liverpool like City would be potentially 63. There'll be a big gap between Liverpool, us, and City. And I feel that's a more favorable play for us, knowing City, right? Like we don't want City to get, they won't drop points, is what my thinking is. And these are the only few occasions where there are opportunities that they could potentially drop points. Us and Liverpool are more vulnerable to dropping points at random spots in our league. Like, it could us could be United away or Tottenham
mm,
away, right? I think that gives us more room to breathe away from City. So my potential opportunity is if Liverpool win, that's a positive, and if it's a draw, that's also fine. But I think if City win, that's not a positive result for us, because when we face them at the Etihad, they will come at us even hard, because if that result goes against us, we are basically out, right?
mm,
So there's only like a few points swing left in the season, and I think tomorrow will be one, and then 31st of March is the other one. And I don't see any other opportunity for us.
mm.
For Assuming all of the three teams win every game, these are the only two swings that could happen. But who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? I'm excited now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, valid points. Definitely, we'll see how that
Yeah,
comes. Like you mentioned, we have that game against Man United as well, pretty much at the back
yeah.
end of the season. Hopefully, that doesn't become that important for us. Maybe we have already clinched the title by then. Let's see.
That's
Uh,
that's a very, yeah. That's the hope. If we could go into that United game, sealing a draw, like could win the league for us. Like beyond the points, I think the other reason why I want Liverpool to beat City is we have beaten Liverpool once at home, drawn away. So head to head, we have that the superiority.
mm,
City, we've beaten them at home. If we get a draw, it would be against these two, it would be a win and a draw. So if it ever goes down and all our goal differences, goals for, against, points, everything is equal, we would be in a much comfortable position.
mm,
And that should be the aim for the team as well. So my goal is, let's go and beat Porto, hopefully 3-0, get across the round of 16, and just relax for the 2 weeks, wait for March 31st, assuming confidently we can go into the City game. I think this year we'll have a special result is my prediction. So
Yeah, let's
hoping
hope for
for that.
that. We'll see how that goes. Like you said, after the Porto game, we have almost 19 days before we play City. Obviously, there is that um, interval where players go for playing friendlies and whatnot for their national teams. Um, we have an important game coming up on Tuesday, which is crucial for our Champions League hopes. We would want to keep the run going, obviously. As a game in the Emirates, Porto has never won in England. We
Hmm.
have, I think, the last time we played Porto, that was a 5-1, 5-0 victory that we
5-0,
had.
I think. Yeah.
A beautiful goal by Samir Nasri, if I remember that.
Oh yes.
But hopefully, that's the result that we get. We, like you mentioned, we have players coming back. Any predictions for that game?
I think hopefully if we can just get across the line, even if it's a 2-0 or a 3-0 or a 3-1, I think I'm okay. Porto are a good side, cannot be underestimated. But if they play like Brentford today, it's gonna be a tough nut to crack. But
Mhm.
if we start the way we started the last 7 games, if we could go couple of goals up front in the first half, it sets up nicely for us. So it'll all depend on the first 30 minutes. If we can get a couple of goals in, I think it's going to be a good night for us. But then you did see a glimpse of nervousness today from the Arsenal fans, right? Like
Mhm.
until we scored the second goal. But I am confident we can get the result with everyone back now, almost except Timber. Everyone is back, I think. Maybe Tomiyasu would be a little bit further. I'm
Mhm.
glad Partey is back and Zinchenko is back. We have everyone available. That gives Arteta a good problem to solve. Raya coming back to his original spot. Um, I think now people will today we'll take a day off. Hope for the game tomorrow to go win whichever way it goes, and then
Mhm.
just focus on Tuesday, Wednesday, get the result, and Tuesday. I think we play on Tuesday and get the result and just relax for 18 days and wait for this Etihad game. And I think I'm potentially going to be in New York, so I might go into an Arsenal bar to see the game. Who knows, like what's going to happen? So,
Nice.
but I'm excited. I'm excited. It sets up nicely. The win today sets up nicely for the Etihad game. If we had not gotten the 3 points today, the game at the Etihad would have been a little bit of a more challenge for us. But I think now we have that extra step in the heel that we go to Etihad. But the good thing about this season versus last season is we have 3 horses. I think last season when it was 1-1, we were super scared of City. But I think Liverpool takes a little bit of edge off of
Mhm.
Arsenal. I think that's working in our favor. So
Yeah.
let's be dark
But
horses, do our game, get results, and just wait for the last game of the season.
maybe if it turns out that tomorrow is a draw, Arsenal may not be a dark horse anymore, being top of the league.
May not, and I
But
think as fans, I think let us be conservative, right? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. As you said, go game by game, get the head-to-heads out, right? I think after City's game, it's pretty much all the 3 teams running to the sprint, like the finish
mhm.
line without facing each other. It'll all come down to our individual, performances. We won't depend on each other's. We will depend on each other's results, but if every team can get its own win, they could potentially win the league. So let's see what happens tomorrow, and hopefully let's connect again. Let's have this conversation after the Porto game, and maybe we can
Mhm.
touch upon the Liverpool City game in that conversation as well. So I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to this next few weeks.
certainly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be an interesting rest of the weekend and coming into the Porto game. Hopefully, we have all the results going our way, including the Champions League game for us. Uh, but let's maybe talk then on Tuesday. We'll talk about the Porto game, the Man City Liverpool game, and You'll probably end up there. For
Sounds
today,
good.
good win for Arsenal. Thank you, Varun, again for joining us. If you guys liked this conversation, please like and subscribe to our channel. Appreciate you guys viewing. We have more than 1,000 views now. A lot
Very
more
cool.
subscribers coming in as well. Appreciate keep having your comments coming in. Um, Share what you think are things that we can discuss about as well. If you feel like there are points that we might have missed and even
Yeah.
changes to this discussion. But
Yep. Yep.
thanks again, Varun. Great discussion as always. But
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much, Arun. Thanks for having. And yeah, we will. International break is also a very interesting time for us, for India's World Cup qualifiers for
Mm,
2026. Two games against Afghanistan. So let's see how that goes. Maybe potentially we could discuss that in another forum as well. So looking forward
right.
to India's advancement in our World Cup qualifiers. We do have a chance if we get the two results against Afghanistan. We would be in the top two, and
Mm,
let's keep that going as well. So 2026 World Cup is in United States, Canada, and Mexico. I'm excited. I'm already looking forward to the game,
mm,
and I'm going to the Liverpool and Arsenal game. I just got my tickets today on for July
nice.
31st in Philadelphia.
Mm,
Hopefully, if you can come, Arun, we'll have a live version of our Gunnar Vibe session there and discuss more about it. So looking forward to that.
absolutely.
Thanks everyone for watching. Take care.
Yeah.
Happy weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye.